There are multiple ways to do things. I'm going to show you only one of them. I'm not going to say that what I'm about to show you is the only correct way or the most efficient way to do things. This tutorial series is going to be heavily opinionated. Perhaps you will not agree with everything, so instead of assuming my opinion is wrong, try to figure out why yours is true. Before we start, let me tell you something that is going to change your life. After watching this series, this should be the most important thing to remember. The concept of original idea doesn't exist. An idea is a modification of a stolen idea or a combination of two or more other ideas. So, how do you get original ideas? You get inspired by borrowing from others, and the most important thing you have to do is to modify it a little bit in order to look different. Don't steal, borrow. That is to modify what you take from others. I hope this makes sense. In case you are an idiot, I will be giving examples throughout this tutorial series. Finally, we got to the meat of the video. This is what you should have after following the tutorial series on how to create a customization menu in Godot engine, a game engine who doesn't lag at all compared to Unity. I hate Unity so much. I don't hate too many things, but man, Unity is on my top 5 among people smoking on the streets. I don't want to smell your polluted air. I can't wait for you to die of cancer. Anyway, look at what I did here. Pretty simple, but at the same time, it just works. I did everything in 4 days, 20 hours in total. But then of course, I spent 3 hours trying to fix a bug that initially didn't make any sense. Sometimes the buttons were working, sometimes they weren't. Pretty soon I found out that the initial 4 buttons presses weren't working, but after the 5th one, everything was working. So why on earth the first 4 button presses weren't working, but the 5th one was? I looked over the code. Then again, I did it 10 times, 20 times. So what was the problem? I was using a string as an int, different type. It wasn't working as I intended to. In my defense, for those 3 hours wasted, the editor didn't say anything. Like, oh hey buddy, you see you're using over here a string instead of an int. It wasn't supposed to work like this. Please change it. I didn't get any error. The editor didn't say anything. Well, you know, you could have typecast the variable that you know what you're going to use them for. Like, okay, I get your point. Yeah. Then why on earth there's the var keyword in Godot if you are supposed to typecast it? It doesn't make any sense. Now here's the thing. Why there is no reason for the var key to exist? Yes, you want to create an int. You create int and the name of the variable, not var. Name of the variable, then you typecast it to int, and then you attribute to it a value. Doesn't make any sense. The var keyword should not exist in Godot. If you are using the var keyword, you will most likely have an error that, hey, you're using string here instead of int. The editor will not tell you where is an error. You will not know that. And you will not know where the error is. Man. Why? Doesn't make sense. This is a flaw. This is a huge flaw in the var. And no, it's not my fault for wasting my 3 hours searching for an error that it was actually my fault. The var keyword should not have existed in the first place. It's not my fault. After I fixed this issue, man, everything was going extremely well. After fixing that issue, I got a boost of confidence and energy. Those people who code Blender are nothing compared to my programming skills. I felt invincible. Nothing could have bring me down. So when I got to the last scene, I encountered something peculiar. The player character wasn't following gravity. The player was supposed to fall, but nothing was happening. Alright, I created a test scene with the same thing, the same assets, but here it was working. Okay, back to my scenes. It wasn't. Alright, I created another test scene where it was working once again. Okay, what's going on? So, still nothing. I get angry and I take a break. I download another version of Godot and create another test scene. And the player falls. Okay, what is going on now? What on earth is going on? And then I saw it. The player's sprites were on a node container. Okay, now this is another thing. Very annoying. Now, in Godot you have 2 nodes. You have node simple and node 2D. What do you think is the difference between a node and node 2D? Node 2D has position. Node simple doesn't have position. Therefore, it cannot move. It's static. Yep. It wasn't working because the node 2D wasn't actually node 2D. It was node simple without a position. In conclusion, if you're a beginner, you may encounter problems like I mentioned before, where nothing makes sense, but the problem is actually you. Programming is hard if you're an idiot. 99.9% of the bugs you encounter are created by you. It's not the program's fault. Unless, of course, you are using Unity, where 99.9% of the bugs are created by the engine itself. What do you mean if I restart Unity, everything works? How does that even make any sense? Who made this game engine? What do you mean it's not 100% free? Where's the dark theme? Here are the things that you're going to learn if you're going to follow this tutorial series. How to borrow like a pro. Why hate Unity? How to pass curvy lines as drawings. Now, the following things are very specific to Godot engine. How button works, how to make 2D customization menu, how to transition between scenes, how to save, how to make a loading screen, how to move a character. Now, back to general stuff. Why Blender is the greatest software ever made. Now, of course, that can be just my opinion, but have you read all the books by the legendary Alexandre Dumas? No? Go reading. Did I mention you should hate Unity? But not Assassin's Creed Unity. That's like second best Assassin's Creed. And yes, Assassin's Creed 2 is the worst Assassin's Creed. I've played them all except the last two, Origins and Odyssey. I own them both. Where's my free time? I don't have enough time to play all those games. Man, both of them are so long, extremely long. Why am I wasting time with this tutorial, by the way? Why am I doing? Who am I?